everybody, I'm Brianna, and in this video I'm going to tell you what spirituality means to me, and I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to discover and engage with your own spiritual path. I am camping somewhere on Vancouver Island with my dad, and this is the river along our campsite, and I really wanted to make this video here in this spot because I feel so at home along this river, and it's just so beautiful, so magical, and so enchanting. And when I'm in this spot, I feel totally surrounded by spirit, and so I just think it's the perfect place to make a video like this. Spirituality is actually really difficult to define because everyone has their own perspective and their own belief. So this is my perspective in this moment, so feel free to take what resonates and then leave what doesn't. To me, spirituality is about having the belief in a higher power and then intentionally connecting to that higher power. You can call that higher power God, spirit, the universe, source energy, the divine. Call it whatever works for you and what feels good for you. And in this video and in my other videos, you'll notice that I most often call it spirit because that's what feels right for me. I believe that we are souls having these human experiences in these human bodies. And the experiences that we have, there's a bee on my camera, and the experiences that we do have contribute to our soul's growth. I also believe that when we are born, we have this type of amnesia where we don't necessarily remember all of the wisdom and the knowledge that our soul and our higher self carries. So it's kind of almost like we're sleepwalking through life until we begin to do the intentional soul growth work, and then things start to unfold for us and we begin to gain access to that knowledge that we already have within ourselves. And as we do that inner work, we begin to move more into alignment with spirit, with our soul, and with our higher self. And that enables us to break down the blocks and the barriers and the programming that society put on us the second that we were born. And when we do that work, it moves us closer into a matched vibration and into alignment with our most truest and authentic self. I also want to say that spirituality is not religion. I've come across a lot of people who are turned off by the word spirituality because it feels linked to religion. And while the two words can have similar meanings, and sometimes the line between the two does blur, spirituality is not religion. Spirituality is more about finding the meaning and the connection in spirit and moving into alignment with your authentic self in whatever way suits you. Whereas religion is more about organized systems and groups sharing often objective views and mindsets that dictate their own actions and beliefs in the world. Now let's get into 5 tips about how to engage with your own spirituality and your spiritual path. Number 1, be open-minded. As you embark on your spiritual path, you will surely come across people who have different perspectives and different beliefs than you, and as you change and transform yourself, your views may also begin to change. So be open-minded to those things. I think that being open-minded means for us to try and release judgment and fears and attachment to outcomes that try to control the experience. And when we release those things, we can be more open-minded to the experiences that we are having. Being open-minded does not mean that you have to tolerate other people's crap, and it does not mean that you need to accept views and perspectives that harm other people. That's not what being open-minded to me means. Remember that your spiritual path is not an overnight thing, it's a lifelong process, and so you will change, and try to be open to that change because you don't need to hold a grudge against yourself for the way that you used to be if you're not happy with that. Because when we release that part of ourselves, then our mind becomes more clear and open to the way that we are now and to the experiences that we're having now and the experiences that we might have in the future. Number 2, develop a practice. Develop a spiritual practice that helps you connect with spirit and with your soul and your higher self. An intentional practice can help you gain a deeper understanding of your own beliefs and your own passions and your own path. A spiritual practice can be really simple. It can be as simple as a daily affirmation, journaling, or forest bathing, or sitting by a river, or it can also be something more detailed like a daily routine or a ritual that you do. For me, my spiritual practice is witchcraft, and that can look many different ways. As a witch, my spiritual practices are intentionally nature-based, and so they can look like moon magic or divination or spellcraft. And I also have a really strong journaling practice that in a lot of ways links to my connection with nature. So witchcraft is my spiritual practice, and that guides me to do the inner work that I need to do for myself, and it guides me and supports me on my spiritual path. Number 3, nurture a connection with nature. To me, nature is an extension of spirit. So these animals and plants and trees and rocks and the elements, they are all extensions of spirit that have messages and wisdom to share with us. I see nature as my sanctuary. It's my place to go where I can feel inner peace within myself, where I can ground and root with the earth and within myself, and it is the place that makes me feel most supported and seen in this life. Nurturing a connection with nature can look like so many different things. It can be you actually going on a hike or going into nature in some way. It could be you staying inside and spending time with your plants and your crystals. There are so many different ways that you can connect with nature, and obviously everyone's circumstances and environment is different, so you can find ways to nurture a connection with nature inside. But it is so amazing when we do have opportunities to be in nature with nature surrounding us entirely. It is one of the most profound things that you can do for yourself. For me, nature is so comforting, and it reminds me that I have choices in how I see my life unfold in front of me. It reminds me that I can see this river as just water sitting beside me, or I can see it as the elemental spirit flowing through, and I can see it as this beautiful magic all around me. So nature reminds me that even in my hardest times, I have a choice on how I can witness and experience things. Number 4, learn about spirit. Begin learning what spirit means to you, and begin learning how spirit communicates with you. Spirit sends us signs and messages when we ask for them, and it can also send us those things when we don't ask for them. Being spiritual can be about learning how to recognize the communication from spirit and then trusting it when it is happening in your life. Spirit can send us signs and messages when we feel that we need the information or the guidance, and when we recognize how spirit is communicating with us, that can be really beneficial for us on our journey. Not everything is a sign, so when you understand how spirit communicates with you, that can really help you decipher the things that are happening around you. For example, a beautiful animal could cross your path, and it could just be saying hi, and it could just be this really beautiful moment. But if that animal species had been showing up for you over and over again, or if you asked spirit to see that specific animal, or if you pulled that animal oracle card that morning, then that experience could be a sign or a message for you. When you are first beginning to learn what spirit's way of communicating with you is, I totally recommend just asking spirit for really specific signs, and that can help you establish the way that spirit is communicating. So I have 2 examples on how I did this. One night I was really, really emotional, and I was really confused about the way things were unfolding. And so I asked spirit to send me a baby deer to say to me that I don't need to doubt the things that I'm experiencing. The next morning at like 8 a.m., it was the first thing that I did in the morning. I went to my mom's house, and as I was walking through the kitchen door, a baby deer was poking its head in the window, and I had a total out-of-body experience. That was a really big moment for me because it was just this really immediate answer from Spirit that yes, I'm here, yes, I am real, and you do not need to doubt what you're going through. Another experience that I had was during a time when I was, again, doubting myself. I was really doubting my path, and I was really doubting my spirituality. And so I asked Spirit to send me a butterfly and have it land on me. 3 days later, I was down at the river, and a gigantic butterfly landed on me. It flew away, and then it landed on me again. And then when I was going back to my car, I found an eagle feather right beside my car door. And that was only the second time in my life I had ever found an eagle feather. It was like Spirit was saying to me, you absolutely do not need to doubt yourself, and that you're doing the work, and that the magic that you're seeing, the connections that you have, and the things that you're experiencing are real for you, and you just don't need to doubt yourself. It was almost like the eagle feather was just like a giant underline on my message saying, stop doubting yourself. This is real. Number 5, begin to uncover your purposes. We have many purposes in this life, but we also may have one specific purpose that drives us. It can be a really interesting experience in our life as we begin to tap into our passions and uncover what our purposes may be. But as you do the inner healing and you go deeper and you go deep within, try to see if over time you witness a greater calling within you. I worked with a shaman who retrieved my life's purpose in a shamanic journey, and when that happened, so many things just kind of clicked for me. For one, I realized that I had actually started my spiritual path a lot sooner in my life than I thought I did. And when my life's purpose was retrieved, I also began to see the synchronicities and in my life and how things were from my past and my present were connected. Realizing what my life's purpose was also created this really strong foundation for me to really go deep with the gritty work that I needed to do for myself, because I felt really supported, like Spirit had been supporting me this whole time whether I knew it, and so I almost felt safer going within myself to do that really, really deep work. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that it was interesting for you. I hope that you were able to take something away from this. Thank you so much for sharing this really beautiful, enchanting river with me. And if you like this video, like and subscribe for similar content in the future, and I hope to see you next time.